forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun.
Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue, any issue trending. But you have the opportunity to introduce your own subject matter. We will stop in the middle of a sentence and take your call. The main objective of this program is to provoke discussion. We can't do justice to all the topics that come, but we could provoke discussion on it. So people could discuss it in their homes, on the block, in the community, discuss issues people raise. So your main issue, punch with it. And it's always good to deal with your main issue first. And then if you have time, you could rebut others. So give me a call. Number to call is 442-0175. It's a little while we don't talk about our farmers. And we always want to talk about our farmers. We don't want to leave them behind. Sometimes my views on farming slightly different. 80% of Grenadians are directly or indirectly involved in farming. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Hey, after Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, I want to say thanks to the government for a road that they constructed from the Parliamentary Electoral Office into Shenda, then St. George Northwest. When I look at that road, a wonderful road, a beautiful road constructed.
St. John as in St. Andrews?
In St. George Northwest.
Okay.
St. George Northwest.
Okay.
And the people of Shenda and the surrounding area are asked to turn out this evening. No, sorry, tomorrow evening, we will be officially opening the road. Because I remember when you living in Shenda and you went in town, you are either passing right wrong or right and top by the scooter coming down back in Shenda. But now that's a shortcut. People could drop there, or the bus could just swing and go inside it and drop load for people. And they coming out back, right back. Because when I come from China, I'm coming up, and I see vehicle going out there, I say, what a beautiful road. Instead of they gotta go right up, they're going out the road and make like a shortcut. And somebody was living there was saying to me last night, the amount of vehicles goes choke. When they came and dropped inside, they say they had to go right up. They passing that shortcut and they passing and go the road. A beautiful road, a wonderful road. And people are sharing that and showing the run. Say thanks to the parliamentary rep and the government for constructing that road, a beautiful road, and a road that makes the people of Shenda and the people out Shenda outside on the main road happy, because if they come in Shenda, they have to go right wrong, or they go right in the bottom or in the top to come to Shenda. But now it makes it much easier for them. For the one's sake, congrats to the government and the parliamentary rep for doing a wonderful work and continue to do the what the people of St. George have elected to do to deliver for them, and you continue to deliver, and come in next election, we will support you 100%. Bye.
Okay, thank you, caller. Government has placed a lot of emphasis on roads. Grenada have the best network of roads in the region. I always repeat these things because some people still living in denial. We have the best network of roads in the region. But we also have the most landowners in the region. So having a good network of road is extremely significant. And 80% of Grenadians are directly or indirectly involved in agriculture. So the network of roads is an advantage to the people involved in agriculture. When I hear my brothers say Grenada far, I always remind them, Grenada too small to be far. It's about 55 minutes drive from one corner to the other. So Grenada is not far. It can be far. So you could be living in St. George's and you could have land that you rent in Gore. Absolutely nothing is wrong with that. And you have a good network of roads. And the quality of the roads in Grenada is relatively good when you compare it. You know, you mustn't see Grenada as a vacuum in a vacuum. You have to compare what is going on in Grenada with the rest of the OECS and Barbados. A lot of the criticism, the tearing and saying and destruction of Grenada by our expressions and criticism is not justified. And you must know that. And that is where some of the utterances of farmers is not justified too. So I always ask farmers. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good evening, brother. How are you doing?
Yes, my brother.
Yeah, well, right now I want to invite everybody and remind everybody in the Northwest constituency about the launch of our campaign at Cajona Gap tomorrow evening. You know, everyone and all are invited. And my brother, let me tell you something. One of the most frightening things, one of the things that frightens me is to put this country in the hands of people like Kim Jones. That frightens me. You know, because I see these fellas and them kind of like they out to seek revenge on people. You know, and that frightened me a lot. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you, caller. Yeah. So we were saying that people involved in agriculture, I really believe that farmers must come together, sit down and discuss what is it we want. Many a time you hear farmers complaining. And the complaining is a kind of general complaint. But what is it they want? Ask farmers. Tell me 5 things you would like to see. And then you see the farmers start to stutter. And even some of the individuals in our country, whether they're in politics or in the media or otherwise, they make general statements, but they don't know what they want. So I always take it and ask farmers what they want. And sometimes, some farmers don't even know what they have. In Grenada here, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Well, I missed you but about third space.
Yes, you're coming on third, so the wicket is still very good. It has not been damaged at all. And you know we always prepare a good pitch for people to bat on. So punch.
As you speak about farmers there, I realize the Honorable Peter David and they have a good plans for farmers and going around and visit farmers. I think that's a wonderful thing. I see happening these days. You go in and hear the cry in the field, which is good. Yeah. What I want to ask you, I always remember in 1971, the late Sir Eric used to have CBM, which you call the Community Builders Movement. They will go wrong. An old lady, she pillow tree, what you call pillow tree, long time is falling, they will put it back. She wants a pillar, come from wood to concrete, they will do that. They will repair her whole kitchen, which used to call long time people had a separate kitchen to the house. They will do that. They will dig what you call latrine pit for these people, because this is why I'm saying right now, I don't believe we have any comparison with these two governments. The new National Party now instituted a program to upgrade the standard of life for people by giving them bathroom and toilet, which is a very good program. I mean, it's go at a certain pace, everybody won't get one time. We in St. Patrick West have 34 families calling and say thanks to the Prime Minister and the New National Party for giving them a comfortable place to bathe and to do their own thing, which no government never sees fitted to do that. If St. Patrick West at 34, that could imagine the other areas and when you put it all together. And they also allow persons who have a small or low income that if you could put up the shelter, you put up the house, and then they will give you the fittings, which I believe the fittings is even more expensive than the blocks. So they give people an option. If you can't wait, sometime you could advance. This government cares. And also last week, a political activist of the National Democratic Congress was saying to me, are you giving wrong set of people public assistance? I said, wait no, you all want to interfere with this program again? The Prime Minister trying his best to put as much people on that program to earn a living. This is not a pension, this is public assistance. The gentleman said, yes, they go if they win, but I say God is good all the time. If they win, they will, because they was told that there are people who wanted to drink rum. Imagine, I say, you don't know who I am. The man said, some people just want the public assistance money to drink rum, so the names have to come out if. I say, well, I will never win, just so you see what. He said, the ladies who get in the school allowances, some of them doing up their hair nicely and forget the children, their name also will cut off. So I am saying these people, you won't hear that under the NNP. These people have no love for nobody. Sometimes a lady, sometimes a lady might have she little assistant to collect, but she get a little money before, somehow, and she might use it to do. The people is watching us. This is why I call you Grenadians. Don't even think about these people. So I am saying with no apology, this election to come, it will be one of the easiest elections to make a decision on who to vote for, because these people have no love. You're going to the NNP, only love. When I joined the NNP in 1996, Dr. Mitchell and Knox Jerome welcomed me nicely in the Anglican school. They showed me love. They said, you was the old gay right? Welcome, welcome, welcome. They hugged me up as though I was there with them. Yes, these people have no love. So I am saying, Grenadians, be aware. And I have no apology in saying it. I thank you.
Yes, my caller. I don't think it's a question of love. I think they love people. I think it's a question of the philosophy of the party, the objective of the party. Not really love, but the philosophy of the party. The party might believe that we don't want to expend money to help people in the lower socioeconomic bracket. These people perhaps are responsible for the condition they're in. So it's two different philosophies. Another political party might say, we have to help these people, because if we don't help them, it'll be difficult to take them out from the cesspit they are in. We have to help them. We have to provide assistance for them. We have to provide education for them. I, as an individual, is very, very supportive of the initiative to provide 10,000 toilets. You see, I know where I come out. And when people don't have toilet facilities in their home, it is a challenge. So I agree to provide toilet facilities. You got to raise the dignity, the esteem of these people, and you could get them to be much more productive with some very little assistance. We must never compromise on education. Pope John Paul, he said, we must not invest in tertiary education at the expense of primary and secondary education. It's very important. For some politicians don't believe that. Some politicians don't believe that. And I think this is where the line of demarcation is drawn between philosophy. People talk about love, but I think it's the whole attitude and the philosophy of the people. If you don't help the people in the lower socioeconomic bracket, then it will backfire on you. Because your children is going to be interacting, become intimate with these children. And you're going to have some grandchildren that might be practicing antisocial behavior. If you don't help these people with toilet facilities and sanitation and a cholera breakout, the waterway could be contaminated and you will be affected. So I think it's trying to show people that when you help the poor, you help yourself. I think this is a big issue. If you're living in a gated community, remember, you still have to employ the people to come to help you. And they will hate you. One individual said, one of the worst things in the world is for a poor man to have a rich man as a neighbor. It could be one of the worst things in the world. Imagine you have a poor person with a lot of children and they're living near a rich person. But the rich person don't care about them. They blame them for the condition they are in. So they are not helping them. Every time the rich person is cooking or eating the chicken that fat people like to line up for in Grenada. I don't know the name and I don't want you to remind me the name. They're smelling the chicken and they're getting angry and bitter. It is your chicken. But what they're saying, you eating this chicken every day and you don't give me peace. You and your big friends come and sometimes they hate you just for that. Because you're well off and they're poor. Nowadays, when you go to school, it is difficult to discern children between the haves and the haves not. When you watch kids today, you don't know which parents have discretionary income. In yesteryear, it was clear, it was easy to discern. And that is good. We need to pay attention to the bar. That is a challenge we have in Jamaica. If you see some areas in Jamaica where one sector live and where the other sector live. And Jamaica have some states in Jamaica, some county or parish. They have to run it under state of emergency because of the level of violence. Remember, of the 30 countries in the world with the highest murder rate, 9 of them are from the Caribbean. But Grenada is not in it. Grenada is not in it. And that is as a direct result of the policy of our politicians, principally Eric Gary's policy and this government policy, where they pay special attention to the less fortunate, to the people in the lower socio-income group. And you can give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. Many a time, I hear politicians, political activists, and other people conveniently speak about the minimum wage and the amount of money people working for in Grenada. And sometimes I hope economists would have explained how you judge, how you assess income. How do you say these people in America working for a lot of money and these people in Grenada don't working for a lot of money? Because it's two different economies. Grenada have a microeconomy, 110,000 people. And your income would generally based on the country's GDP and the demand and supply for labor. But I tend to differ. So I say, let us do a little research. Remember, when you and I research, we are not doing it to have a paper to present to university. We are not doing research for us to get a job. We're doing the research to have the courage of our own conviction. and to able to express opinion. When I express my opinion, and I do it all the time, if I get new information, I change in my opinion. So it is good to look at salary and wages in Grenada. And everybody jumping up on Imani. And you know my position on that program. I think the Imani program is the best program that have been instituted in Grenada in the last 100 years to able to address people who have difficulties getting a job and the competitiveness on the job market. So you know a bias on the Imani program. Now, what is the salary range in the Imani program? I don't know, maybe $7,000 to $1,000. What is the salary range in the supermarkets in Grenada? Now, all of us must do a little homework. It's nice to come on the radio and speak, but I always say we must have justification and rationale, particularly when we're making bold statements. When politicians come and make statements, they must have. So ask them, what is the minimum salary range in the supermarkets? What is the salary range in the bank? Particularly people who working in the bank under 1 year. What they start with. What is the salary range for secretaries, for lawyers? The people who work with a lawyer, what salary they getting? The people who work in radio stations in Grenada, journalists, what salary they getting? Now it's easy for us to run our mouth. And when we condemn the Imani program and people talk about it, and we are cornered, we talk about salary. So let us look at the salary. What is the salary that you get in the supermarkets? What they pay workers in the supermarkets? What lawyers pay their secretary? What is the lowest salary within government places? And that will be cleaners, cooks, supernumeraries, as they call them, and temporary workers. What is the salary scale? My brothers and sisters, sometimes an agriculture worker in the land technically might be making more money than them. Because somebody that works in agriculture might work between $40 and $50 a day. And you may get 3 hours work from them. So that means about nearly $15 an hour they're working for. Whereas somebody in a supermarket might work for about 8 or 9 hours. A lawyer's clock. Now the time has come for us to present facts. When we're speaking in Grenada, we like to run with mouth, as if we believe all the people in the lower socioeconomic is still illiterate and they can't think. You don't have to bright to do research, because you are not doing research to present a paper to a university to get a job. It's just to satisfy your curiosity. So I encourage people, even some people who are in the Imani program. I had the opportunity to interview more than 50 of them, about 8 or 9 on radio. And sometimes they're always concerned about the pay they're working. And I ask them, what is the wages, what is the pay that they're getting in the supermarkets? What is the pay in the bank? That is what will shock them. That is the shocker. Go and find out what bank clerks working for. Particularly people who they just taken. Find out. Go and find out what lawyers paying their secretaries. Ask them. And if they hesitate to answer you, you know they don't want to tell you what they're working for. Ask them. So, salary scale in Grenada is not big. But our economy is also not a big economy. And a lot have to do with the employer's ability to pay and whether the employer making money. Because if you're working with an employer We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my brother.
And you are so right in your assumption there now. Because I do hear on more than one occasion, Miss Claudette said that the government building a lot of hotels and only the low hanging jobs Grenadians are getting. But I listened to some managers of hotels recently, and they say the amount of step up they have, junior manager, senior manager, departmental manager, and when you check it, these people getting over $3,000 and on average $2,000-$3,000, and you are telling me that if you could employ 300 people and paying them on an average of $3,000 or 2,000 something, how you consider that to be the low-hanging jobs? When it is equivalent to the same person working in the stores, when it is equivalent to the same person working as clerks and as lawyers, clerk and so on. You understand? So it shows you the type of degrading attitude that these people have in them. Because I will be glad to know that more people get those kind of jobs. Just a few weeks ago, our hotel was calling down for people. And you tell me that you could get a job for, the cost of transport and whatnot. But you tell me you could get a job for over $3,000, $2,000, and you call that low job, and you could employ at least 500 people, 300 people. I mean, it's a shame to hear people make those statements. I have just came from an area called Loreto, and the government have just recently opened a road there, it was what you call an estate road. And it's upgraded now. Not to the fullest, but vehicles can run from one point to the other point inside that area now. You have people if you go in those areas now, you could see about over 6 or 7 persons trying to do the best renovation on the house and bring it up to the same bathroom and toilet. Before it was hard to do that because you have to get these materials in. So even though you get a load of sand, it's taking you almost 4 or 5 weeks to get that sand inside your area. Today you could get a truck going inside to drop that for you. So that person's standard of living will rise in the next few months. You know? And if when you condemn those type of things, it tells you that these people, you remember they talk about the needy and the greedy? Right? So these are the kind of statement that they class these people in. The needy, the greedy. You understand? But they are the people that want to move from one stage to the other. And I call that very good. Moving. And yes, some of it very long, because some of the estates that even that Mr. Gary had took in the olives, some of them they're not properly developed, so the living standard there is not of the very best. But a lot of move have been made over the last few years to move these people from the lives they was living. So, and I consider that to be very good. Very good. You live that person's living standard. And you could see the amount of people that is glad for those things. Electricity inside there. You have water inside the areas now. You have electricity. What are you? What do you want more than that?
Yeah.
In terms of a help to move somebody from one living standard to the other.
Yes, Scholar, thank you. Yes, I think it's important sometimes. When people speak, they mustn't speak in a vacuum. Particularly influential people who know better. Sometimes I think they want to trick people. So when you speak and you say that you have a Imani program and the salary is too small, well, nobody wants you to stay in Imani program. Although some people, I agree for some people to stay there till they're dead. You will want to have more than 50% mobility. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Francis.
Yes, my brother.
And pleasant afternoon to your
Great,
listening audience. Francis, I'm a guy with common sense, yeah? And I find I live in Grenada long enough whereby people cannot tell me that this letter is B when I know it's an A. Now listen, roads. I want you to tell me which other island in the Caribbean that have a more complete network of roads that is more complete and motorable than ours? Education. Tell me which other island students that receive more assistance than ours. Freedom. Tell me which other island in the Caribbean where the people have more freedom than ours. Crime. Tell me which other island where the police solve crime like ours. Land ownership. Tell me which other island in the Caribbean where the natives own more land than the Grenadian people. Francis, listen to this. You condemn the Imani program. You condemn traffic warden. You condemn environmental warden. You condemn the debushing program. The NDC condemn concrete roads. The NDC condemn concrete drains. The NDC condemn the bathroom and toilet program. The NDC condemn incentive to the poor and vulnerable. The NDC condemned the incentive that was given to frontline workers. And the NDC went to Grenada and called Grenadians needy and greedy. Mr. Pierre, what are these people coming today to tell us when it comes to voting and when it comes to the election? Have a pleasant day, sir.
Yes, thank you, caller. You see, I say these things because I think that is one of the problems that we have in Grenada. Even the gentleman speak about the Minister of Agriculture going around. The Minister of Agriculture have to try to change the mentality of our people, the mentality and the attitude. In a lot of instances, farmers don't need tangible things. What farmers need to do is to change their mentality and attitude. Farmers need to pull themselves together to hold a discussion. 5-10 farmers that farms run a school could come up with a project to put guttering around the school and collect the water from the school and use it for the lands. You're surprised to know that is not expensive. And the farmers will get funding for that. We had the EZ program in Grenada. I think you had to benefit about 10 people. I really thought nutmeg and cocoa would have been the ones hungry for it. What we need to change is our attitude. A farmer buys a vehicle for $100,000, thereabout. He has 100% concession. But the farmer don't want to buy a water pump for $5,000. The farmer crying that he don't have water irrigation. He has a vehicle for $100,000. But he wouldn't buy a water pump for $5,000. Maybe the Ministry of Agriculture have to come in and say, no, you have to have the water pump first. But he will take really bold extension officers, because the farmers are always complaining about the extension officers. Extension is a free service. A free service. You don't want to pay for it. You pay for lawyers. You pay for doctors in Grenada if you don't want to go in the government hospital. But extension is free. Use the extension service. So this is the reason I say one of the biggest challenges our farmers have is the mentality and attitude. And I would like to see the minister try to change that. I don't know how he's going to do it. Obviously, when election time near, the minister can come and talk this nonsense for farmers. Can't talk that for them. I could say, because I'm not openly flaunting any political party and I'm not looking for votes. So I could say that. But the poor minister can come and tell them that the attitude is wrong. And then we have other people in the country that I call the enemies of progress. Always making this blanket statement. All farmers have to sit down and determine that Grenada is a small country. We export cocoa, nutmeg, sauersup, and fish in significant quantities. We have about 20 other products that we could send to the United States of America, but we do not have any significant quantity. For instance, bread nut. Farmers getting about $4 a pound for bread nut. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother.
A question I would like to ask is the Humani program a training program or a job? You there?
Yeah.
Is it a training program or a job?
The Imani program is a social program. One of the objectives of this program, I think, is you have a number of people leave school and they're unable to get a job because they don't have the education, the training, the technicalities. So you put these people in the program and you try to train them so they would enter the job market. But we have a very sluggish job market. So while you're training them to enter a market, the market is very sluggish. So sometimes some people dead and they get a job there. And sometimes you look for the dynamics of new businesses for them to be employed. So this is why the mobility, the movement from the Imani program would be relatively low, maybe 50-60%. So in that sense, it is a training program. The Imani program is also a social program where you have unemployed people in a country and you get some money and give them. Because you cannot afford to leave them unemployed. No. They're going to end up in prostitution. They're going to end up in violence.
Well, what I want to ask, seeing that there is much jobs in the country, if you keep putting so many people in the Himani, after a while, it's going to get clogged up.
Yes, but I support to put more. And let me tell you why. There are some schools of thought that say, when people leave school and they're out there, you have to get something for them to do. And they have to get money.
Yeah, definitely.
If they don't get money, they're going to go in prostitution. They're going to go in drugs. They're going to get angry. There will be more social decadence. They're going to break people's place. So that is one of the things you do. You give them basic money to buy personal defects and to have hope. While you're doing that, you're providing education and training for them. So it's a social, this thing common in the United States of America and England. They call it the 99ers. You get paid for 99 weeks. In England, you only dole. In Holland, this thing common in the bigger countries. You could ask.
Don't you think it should be a bit more like the jobs? What are the main jobs the Himanis are put into?
Well, I think the first of all, when these people come there, and I'm speaking from my observation outside, I've not tried to go and find out anything scientific about them. From my observation outside. Now there's young people leave school. Remember, when we were young, we could have cut class, we could have pick cocoa, we could have hunt, we could have fish. These young people don't do that now. So when they come in the first grade, they're teaching them how to answer the telephone, say good morning, be respectful. They call that social skills. Some of them don't even have social skills. You could watch them on the street and see. Most of them, you encourage them to go back to school and get maths and English. You have people who were in the money program that went to St. George's University. So it's a program where it's a social program. It's also a program trying to get opportunities for people. But you must provide an income for people. There are some schools of thought that say, when you have a harsh economic climate, harsh economy, downturn in the economy, you must give people money. If you don't give them money, it's a lot of violence and fighting and social decadence.
Well, I think the party who are looking to come into office should refrain from like attacking the Himanis, because you need to give them jobs. You need to find something for the young people to do. So they should refrain from really attacking them. But I don't really, between me and you, I want to know if it's a training program or a job, because if it's a training program, you have to find, after a while, you can keep somebody a Himani for 3 and 4 years. You have to find.
Let us suppose for the purpose of the Imani, government put up to 39 years. Let me use one example. You have a girl that joined Imani 39 years. She dropped out from primary school. She have 3 children. I'm just using figures. And she joined the Imani 39 years. And she going to try to see if she could get a little training course. Let's suppose she say, I want to work in agriculture. And when she go in agriculture, she's standard at writing and academics. Plus she has children, she has man, she has problem. She more concerned about the $700 or $800 she gets in a month. The question is, after 3 years, do you throw out outside?
No,
or do you keep her in the program?
No. I'm saying, well, after you're gonna keep them in the program, but remember, it's a program, it's a process. Life is a process. You don't want to stay one way.
Some of them go dead in the program.
You don't want to stay one way collecting.
Yeah, but there are some during the revolution. They had a program where they had a whole set of youths mass education, and I had the opportunity to teach in the program. There was some children there with GC, and he has one particular kid. He could write 44 and 33, but if you tell him write 42, you don't know which one to put in front. That is a challenge you have when children leave school and they don't have the basic requirement. Remember, 70% of the children that exit in school don't have maths and English. 70%.
In Grenada.
In Grenada.
So
70%.
What you say about that? The educational system is not.
The productivity level in our school is shameful. I believe some educators must shed tears. I think it's dismal. It's unacceptable, and that is part of the inherent problem.
So hold on. So did you do a comparison with the other islands? Because
don't surprise we might be better than Jamaica and some countries in the Caribbean.
Well, I would like you to do because you like to do.
Yes. I've always using the figures for this St. George's University, not the University of the West Indies, Jamaica, Barbados, and I invite them to challenge me on that. I invite them to. They must have statistics. I am disappointed that journalists not going to the statistic department and find out the percentage. I've been saying that for the last 15 years. And I'm disappointed that the people who do sociology in university and getting a bag of certificate have not found out why.
So, Mr. Pierre, before I go, there's a school of thought that people always come to Grenada and find the better jobs based on their education level. So it's not correct to say that Grenada, as a previous scholar said before, that Grenada have one of the best educational systems, because apparently people come from outside and always get our better jobs because we don't have the qualification.
I think the caller was speaking about the facilities in terms of the school.
No, he mentioned the education. He said Grenada have one of the best education system in the Caribbean. Skills training and otherwise. I work in places already where you're looking for professional people in workplaces and you can't find them.
But remember, Grenadian go and hold jobs in Trinidad, Barbados, Dominica, the same thing. But I think when you're dealing in terms of the quality education, Trinidad might be better because they have a system checking what percentage of people go have tertiary education. How they access it, how they judge it. I think it might be different how we calculate it.
I think I'd love to see in Grenada, like this administration and any other administration have come, we should have our own university.
Yeah, Colin.
Yeah,
thank you. Yes, and you can give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. And today we turn back to our farmers. We don't like to leave them behind. The farmers like to complain. Complaining. And I always challenge farmers and ask them, what is it you want? What do our farmers want? And then you listen to, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, Michael.
What are you doing?
Great, man.
Yeah, what? You there?
Yes, man. Good. Go ahead.
Right. If you look at something carefully, well, correct me if I'm wrong here. Right. Now, isn't math and English is the basic requirement for getting a job? In our society per se.
For argument's sake, let's say yes.
Okay.
For argument's sake, yeah.
Okay, so then if our school system is not adequately addressing these things then our educational system has failed us miserably then.
Well, fail is might be, is different perspective. But my point is the productivity level in school is one thing. And we are not addressing that. Every time you open your mouth, somebody talk about new subjects to bring in school. It doesn't matter how much subject you bring in. If you have low productivity, you have low productivity.
Exactly.
The question that we're not dealing with in Grenada is low productivity in school. Every time you speak about that, somebody say introduce new subject matter. It doesn't matter whether you take out subject or you put in. The productivity level in school is too low.
It is exactly.
So we have too much of people exiting school without the minimum qualification.
Well, this is exactly what I am saying to you, sir.
And it's a greater challenge now for government, because government have to fight to get so much people in the money program that don't have the basic. So instead of teaching them maybe electronics or this or that, you have to go and teach them life skills.
Exactly, yeah. and this is what our education system is supposed to address.
Yeah,
we need more skills training in our educational system, right? And it's not more just the academic.
But you see, after when a child leaves school, if you realize this war in Ukraine now is practically a technological war.
Okay.
It's not brute force again. A lot of time they want bright people in the army. They want people that are thinking, because it's a question of technology.
Exactly.
So in the same way, when our children leave school, you want more than 50% of our children to have the minimum requirements. Mm-hmm. And that is a challenge we have. Low productivity in the school.
Exactly.
And then people sun dancing. Every time you speak to the educators, they talk about bringing in more things. No. Government spend enough money on the... If we lose our color? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, the question is the productivity in school. And if you have more children live in school, let's say more than 50%. We have a caller on the line? If more than 50% of them live in school with a minimum requirement, it is easy for any government. And not only in Grenada, St. Vincent, Dominica, St. Lucia, Jamaica, is relatively the same thing. So we have to face our realities. We can ask the British to come and solve that problem for us, or the Russian or the Chinese. Grenadians must solve the problem. And when you speak about productivity in school, they talk about skills training. It's not that. It's low productivity. Sometimes we have to go to our parents to help to motivate them so that the children will be more knowledgeable. You have 14-year-old behaving as them is 7-year-old. You have 20-year-old boys behaving as them is a 9-year-old. Mediocrity is the order of the day. And that is what we have to deal with. To increase the productivity level in school, so perhaps more than 50% of the children will meet the minimum requirements. And it's going to be better for everybody. The farmers are crying. What is it you're crying about? I have some serious farmers. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah?
Yes, caller, welcome.
Nobody is calling for you.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Tell me something. What do you think about this thing? What happened to the climate change again, BVI?
In the BVI?
Yes. Right. What do you think about him being arrested and move out from the island to go up? I mean, I think that England moving out to stand trial, and the Caribbean government hadn't said anything.
When these things happen, you kind of shame the Caribbean leaders. The Prime Minister, the Chief Minister of the BVI, when these things happen, you kind of shame the Prime Ministers in the Caribbean.
Exactly.
And they don't want to come out too strongly in support of you because they might say bipeds of one plumage amalgamate, birds of a feather flock together. Now the British, remember, the British is the best slave master. And sometimes they go after leaders and he fall prey. Maybe they didn't like what's going on in BVI. They're going to offer him money because they're going to bribe him. You know? They're going to offer him money to be corrupt. The Americans are him like that. And he fall prey. What Caribbean people could do is to treat the issues as two separate issues. The fact that he fall prey, you have to stand the consequences. The next issue is Britain want to implement direct rule on BVI. The Caribbean leaders should object. I heard Dr. Kit Mitchell and the OECS object. The University of the West Indies should object. The Caribbean journalists should object. The Caribbean
object to what? Object to what?
To direct rule.
Yeah, but Mr. Pierre, listen to me. But the place is not really independent. Listen to me. Them have a prime minister. They have premier.
In 1967.
Listen to me. So at the end of the day, the thing is that it's still a British territory, so them have the right. Listen to me. And listen to me. Right, I don't try to be wrong, right? I think somebody said. I think our prime minister said that we don't want to recolonize. How can you recolonize a place that has already colonized? Huh? How can you recolonize a place that is already colonized? I mean, this thing just to make it. Listen.
Let me make the last point.
No. Listen, just bearing out one minute. No, we have to be careful in that all of the Caribbean governments, though, is not under the same cloak, right? So that is why up to now this referendum that we had here failed, and listen, and all of us is in the same thing, jumping up, and is both of a feather flock together, right? And up to today, Mr. Pierre, right? The Caribbean is still in this big callaloo and still can move, and this is why again that the people say that look, they prefer to remain with the Privy Council, right, than to move out, because these Caribbean governments, they only want to have the thing in their own way and do their own thing, and they don't care about the people of the region.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Right.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we just have perhaps opportunity to take a last caller. The number to call is 4420175. And I'll try to read one of the thing on Facebook. My point with this salary thing, I may be naive, but there is no way I'm working for 20 years for $1,000 without looking for another job. My first salary in 1996 was $30 a day, $600 a month. Yes, you see, all this is the mentality. Somebody in a job and you want them go forward. You want them improve their education. So when somebody gets a job, you want them improve their education. You want them learn. Some people in a job and they don't want to improve. They don't want to be challenged. And they get stuck in the job. And then you could stay 1,000 years there. One person said NEC will say anything that comes to them out only because they are powerfully hungry. We as a nation must listen carefully and use our common sense. In all fairness to the NDC, remember they're in opposition. When you're in opposition, you attack anything. The NDC don't have nothing to lose because the NDC lost election on 3 occasions losing all the seats. So they have nothing to lose. They could fire blindly at any opportunity they get that perhaps they could get a vote, they could fire at it. So I'm not against them for firing or criticizing everything. Yeah. At my former job, there are 4 Imanis, and right now there are 2 remaining with salaries of $1,500 upwards. So there are some people who, being Imani, went to jobs in the private sector, but they perform and they improve their salaries. So I think sometimes we just run down this issue about salary. But as I said, look at the salary that people are paid in the supermarkets, what they are paid in the hotels, what lawyers, secretary work for, what Cocoa Association and Nutmeg Association pay the workers, what government pay the cooks and etc. And then you would find that is the income that the salary or the stipend or what you call it that Imani get is relatively good. You don't want to give them a salary that make them too comfortable and want to stay in it. You want them improve, you want them study, and you want them move on. A lot of them have moved on. Some go to university, some get opportunity to go to China. You know, so I think because we have blanketly criticizing these programs for political reasons, and maybe this is one of the reasons it scared the males out of it. So the majority of people in Imani, I don't know the statistics, but when I observe them passing, more than 60% of them are women. Sometimes you see 1 or 2 boys in it running scared. So this is an important thing, and we come to the end of our program. We want to thank you for participating in it, for calling, and somebody comments, we'll always read it. We believe we need to provoke discussion. When you hear statements on social media, radio, or even from me, don't take it as gospel. Sometimes you have to discuss it among your friends and see if there is any truth in it. And it's a good thing for you to compare salary and wages in Grenada. What Imani work for, what the supermarkets work for, what they work for in gas stations, what they work for in Cocoa Association, Nutmeg Association, what the ordinary, the banks. This one is beautiful. Find out what a bank worker work for within a year. And then you're going to see the amount of hours somebody spend in Imani or what they spend in debushing, they could go and find an alternative backup to supplement their income. We want to thank you very much, and we're back with you tomorrow between 12 and 1 when we give you an opportunity to punch.